Hey everybody, Backpack Hack here, coming at you with another trail tip, and today we're going to be talking about hand tools that every homeowner should have. Now when I say homeowner, I'm not talking about people who only live in sticks and bricks houses. I don't care if you live in a house, whether you own it or rent it. I don't care if you live in an apartment or townhouse or condo. I don't care whether you have an RV that you take out once a week or you live in it full time. These are hand tools that everybody should own. And I'm not going to be talking about power tools, because as handy as they are, the problem is they take electricity. And the preppers out there are probably thinking, well, my cordless will probably work until the battery dies, and then you have to find a way to recharge it. Also, for you RVers out there, whether it's just for a week or you're a full-timer, having power tools is great, but you may be boondocking and don't have access to the utility power, so things like power saws and things like that aren't going to work. So I'm going to be talking about strictly manually powered hand tools, pieces of metal and plastic and other materials that will work even if there's been an EMP and the grid is down and your cordless drill is fried. These hand tools are all going to work. So let's get started. First off, you're going to need a hammer. Now, I don't care what size you get or what brand or whether you like a straight or a curved claw. This is a 24 or 26 ounce straight claw, but it doesn't matter. You need to drive nails, pull nails, pry things like that, but having a good hammer is going to be highly useful. Screwdrivers, you can never have enough screwdrivers. You're going to want a variety of flat tip screwdrivers. You're going to want a variety of Phillips or cross bits, as well as other specialty screwdrivers like jeweler screw bits, Torx screwdrivers, things like that. You can never have enough screwdrivers. You are going to want a socket set. Now I know a few pieces are missing here because I've used them and I'm just like everybody else. I take them out of here, use them, and never put them back. But I try to keep this as complete as I can. This is probably more than most people will need, but this is what I have. A variety of 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 inch drive, and in 12 and 6 point. I have metric, I have SAE, just a wide variety of ratchets and sockets and bits that will go in this. When it comes to pliers, you're going to want a variety of different sizes and different kinds. You're going to want adjustable wrenches like this. You're going to want slip joint wrenches like this. You also might want a pair of locking pliers like this. Pliers and wrenches, very handy. You're going to want to get a good quality tape measure. This is a Stanley 25 foot. It's a Fat Max. I like it because it's nice and wide and stands out like 7-8 feet, so I can measure things across the ceiling. You don't need anything this high powered. A 12 or 16 foot tape measure is probably going to be just fine for most people. It doesn't have to be that expensive, but get yourself a good tape measure and you'll never be sorry. How do you drill holes without a cordless drill? Simple. You get yourself a cordless drill. Yep, it's old school, it's pretty well beat up and used, but it is still highly functional. They just don't make them like this anymore. This is a ratcheting type, so I can use it as a speed ratchet for doing nuts and bolts and things like that if I want to, but it has a chuck in here that I can chuck up drill bits and at least auger some holes in various materials. Very labor intensive, but will work without electricity. A couple other things you might want to consider getting is a set of nut drivers. Now this is just 3 that I have out of an entire set. These are the 3 that I keep in my pouch because I use them all the time. And that is, I have a standard length, a couple in different sizes, as well as a extended shaft. You can get these in metric and SAE. You can get them in 6, and you might be able to even find 12-sided ones, but 6-sided is going to work just fine. You don't have to get these. You might have a handle where you can adapt one of your socket sets bits and use that instead of these, but having these is very, very handy to have. Also, I'm going to suggest you get a good quality utility knife that you can use to do scoring and cutting and general utility work. These are very, very nice to have as well, so good quality utility knife. Having a pair of lineman's pliers can be handy if you're going to be doing electrical work. All around, you don't have to be doing electrical work to get diagonal wire cutting pliers. These can cut nails and things like this if you get a good pair. For fine work, you're going to want a pair of needle nose. And if you're planning on doing electrical, make sure you get a pair of wire cutters and wire strippers. When it comes to cutting things, there are 2 types of saw you're going to want. You're going to want a basic hand saw to cut wood, and to cut metal, you're going to want a hacksaw. These are very, very well used, as you can see, because like I say, I use these at work every day. If you want to get more specialized, you might want to get a bow saw and maybe a drywall saw. But these two saws right here are going to be doing most of the work that you want to do. A bow saw and a drywall saw is just icing on the cake. Some other tools I'm going to suggest you get is a set of Allen wrenches. You can get these both in hexagon and Torx. You can get them in small and large, and you can get them in metric and SAE. So however many of those you feel you need, go ahead and get a hold of those. A pair of tin snips is always good to have for cutting metal. And when you need to pry something, really put some effort into it, a good pry bar like this is going to be very, very handy. When it comes to checking things for level and plumb, you want to get yourself a basic torpedo level. These aren't all that expensive. If you want to spend the money, you can get a bigger level, either a 2-foot or a 4-foot, but a torpedo level is a very, very basic minimum that you should have in terms of levels. And there you have it, the basic tools that everybody should own. I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice when it comes to getting these tools. You probably noticed that the tools I have look pretty worn, beat up, and sometimes they're a little bit rusty and crusty. That's because many of these tools are what I use on a day-to-day basis in the construction trade. So they're not going to be nice and new looking. In fact, some of them are probably up for replacement. But if you treat your tools right, and you're an average homeowner, and again, when I say homeowner, I'm not talking about sticks and bricks, wherever you live. If you're the average user, good quality tools are going to last you a lifetime. And in fact, some of these, like my hacksaw, I know my hacksaw is probably 30 years old. So if you treat your tools right, there's something that you can probably even hand down to your kids and grandkids. The second piece of advice I can give you is when you go to acquire tools, stay away from those bargain bins that you see at the hardware store and the home improvement centers where there's a great big bin of tools and they're all clamshell packaged and it says your choice $1.99 or your choice $7.99 or your choice $15.99. Avoid that crap. Stay away from Harbor Freight and places like that that sell crap tools, because quality tools are going to last you a lifetime, especially if you take care of them. They're just like tents and knives. You do not put them away wet because they're going to be rusty. In fact, one of the reasons some of my tools are rusty is because somebody else used them and just left them out in the rain or left them in a puddle of water, and I'm left with a rusty tool. So take care of your tools, make sure you put them away dry. And finally, if you do live in a house or an apartment and have a vehicle, a lot of these tools should be duplicated in your vehicle. Don't rely on the tools you have at home to an effective vehicle repair, because you may be stuck on the side of the road and need those tools, but, well, they're back home. So a lot of these tools, your basic hand tools, should be in your vehicles. And in fact, a lot of these tools, like I say, these are the tools I use for work. So in my war wagon, my van, these tools are already there by default because I use them for work. But here in my pickup, I do have things like wrenches and screwdrivers and things like that already in the vehicle. So if I have a problem on the roadside, I can at least have some tools to effect a very basic repair. So this is Backpack Cat coming at you with this trail tip. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment on my videos. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out on the trail.